We are live. We made it to Wednesday, folks. Boy, I tell you what a crazy few days since the last time we got together. I tell you what, this Trump regime has packed a whole lot of stupid in just a couple of days. Let's unpack it all. Let's get into it. Good morning, everybody. You know, J.B. Pritzker is not hyperbolic. He is not a hyperbolic guy. He is just somebody that measures his words carefully. And when you've got J.B. Pritzker saying stuff like this, you know things have gone off the rails. Pritzker yesterday just compared Trump to Putin, calls for invoking the 25th Amendment for suggesting military use Chicago as training grounds. Yeah, Trump actually did say that. He did. Their vision for America is really, really out there. And I got to tell you, folks, this big shindig that they thought that they were going to get a lot of rah-rah support and you know, when they called all the heads of each of our commands from around the world together, and they thought they were going to have a room full of generals, and this just did not go off like they thought they were going to. And Trump was, again, it was like the UN the other day. His mental decline was on full display. It really was. But before we get into all that, yeah, we're shut down. Yeah, the government is shut down. The United States government is closed for business. And I got to tell you, it is unnecessary. It is stupid. It is ridiculous. It is the Republicans not being able to read the room. They really thought that this was just going to play out for them, that people were going to be, you know, all pissed off at the Democrats because they were going to walk out and they were going to say a bunch of bullshit like, oh, the Democrats just want health care for illegal aliens, which immediately, even the corporate media called them out on it. The only place that ran is Fox News. And even right-wingers are tired of hearing the bullshit. They really are tired of hearing the bullshit. So, yeah, this has not been playing out like they thought it was going to. I don't suspect this is going to be a long shutdown. The Democrats have very modest requests. Very modest requests. What the Democrats are after, folks, is the current budget makes it ends subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. It is going to cause healthcare costs just to explode. And ironically, it's going to be for a lot of Republicans that it just explodes. You're talking about immediately, as soon as this bill is passed, you're talking about people's healthcare premiums doubling in many cases. It's just insane because this is actually aimed directly at a lot of Republicans. Because think about who uses the Affordable Care Act. You know, Democrats, you know, we're out there. We've got jobs, man. We've got jobs, and most jobs come with benefits. Most jobs come with health care. Republicans, you know, your AC guy, he's the one that's going to go to the exchanges. People that work in construction, they're contractors. A lot of those people are Republicans. Over the road drivers, a lot of them rely on the Affordable Care Act exchanges. They're going to get punched right between the eyes. And Democrats have, like I said, it's a very modest proposal. They're not asking for the world here. And the Republicans really thought that this was going to play into their hands, because every time they've shut the government down before, when they were in the minority, they took the blame. They just thought, well, the Democrats are in the minority now, so of course they'll take the blame. And nobody is. Are any of you people buying it that way? Are any of you people? And by the way, folks, if you're watching this on replay or you're new, this is as much about our community as it is about what I have to say. There's parallel conversations going on in the chat. You want that chat panel open, whether you're watching on a mobile device. I believe you have to just swipe over in the comments to get the chat panel open. And if you're watching on a PC, there's a little button in the lower right-hand corner of the screen that says panel. Hit that. You're going to want to see what the folks have to say. We're going to interact and talk a lot today. But yeah, it is just insane. And of course, the corporate media, God damn them. Every time there's a shutdown, they run the same nonsense. This is Politico, but it is just echoed everywhere. What does the shutdown mean? And then they soft pedal it. Oh, this won't be affected. That won't be affected. They're going to furlough employees here. They're going to no, it is look, folks, I'm just going to say it. Government is good. I am not one of those Reagan freaks that just got off on saying government's bad. I'm going to blame the government for everything. No. Just like Doge found out when they went in and said, oh, we're going to find all kinds of waste, fraud, and abuse, and then couldn't find any. All they found is that the government actually does things that we want it to do. Yeah, government is good. And no, furloughing large portions of your workforce doesn't mean it's going to be okay. It doesn't. The last time this happened, Park Service, perfect example. The corporate media and the Republicans are spending it. It's going to be okay. We're going to keep critical people in place to keep the roads open. And yeah, but that doesn't mean shit, people. That doesn't mean shit. They're going to furlough park rangers. And without park rangers, you get stupid shit like this. Back in 2019, going back to the last time this idiot shut the government down, the last two shutdowns were on this idiot's watch. Trump is a moron. He got killed the last two times because of stupid stuff like this. Bunch of right-wing freaks, four-wheeling freaks, went into Joshua Tree, and because there were no rangers there, they decided they wanted a camp where you're not supposed to camp. If you're not familiar with national parks, if you've ever been to any place like Denali or anything like that, there are huge sections of these parks that are no man's land. They're no man's land. You are not allowed to go in. You are not. Dick, thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate you. You are not allowed to go in these areas. During the shutdown, the rangers aren't there to stop them. So they went and they cut down ancient Joshua trees, just took chainsaws to them and decided, well, we want a new road here, and took their four-wheelers in to areas they weren't supposed to be in. Folks, it's going to take hundreds of years for the Joshua Tree Park to recover from the last time they did this stupid shit. And it's not just insignificant things like that. You know, I call it insignificant. It's not insignificant. It's a big damn deal. It really is. But it's not life-altering to most people. Spicy Jester, breaking news, Trump administration shells $18 billion in New York City infrastructure projects over DEI, a move that will cripple the city's infrastructure. If the world financial capitals fail, America fails. That's an attack on Mamdani. That Trump is just the whiniest little bitch. He really is. That's just an attack on Mamdani. His guy is losing and Mamdani is winning. So he's there. He's going to do what Republicans do. Republicans create problems. They think it's a winning strategy to go into areas where they're not popular and just create problems. Like we can't see it happening. We don't know what's happening there. Metal Rabbit, thanks for supporting the show. I really appreciate you. I really do. But yeah, it's not things just like the parks get torn up. It's not. Randy Ryder, remember Sir Jeff Epstein, Jeff Epstein, Jeff Epstein, Jeff Epstein. Yep. We're not letting it go. Them people didn't stop raping kids just because Jeffrey Epstein died. No, we need those reports. We need those reports. And we'll never stop asking for them. Peter, thanks for supporting the show, brother. But yeah, I mean, it was a big deal. Air traffic. We had backlogs everywhere. Sure, the media is going to spin it as, hey, we're going to keep the air traffic controllers on the job. But you're not. You're not going to keep the full staff on the job. They're going to furlough about 20%. So these air traffic controllers are going to be working their asses off for no money because they're going to be kept on the job while they're not getting paid. Finally, they just quit coming to work. They did. The last time our nation's longest government shutdown under Trump, they just quit coming. They just said, screw this, man. You people can't get your act together. We're not going to do it. And it shut down O'Hare, or not O'Hare, but LaGuardia, which caused, you know how air travel works. You people in this audience, if you're here listening to a show where we talk about, take deep dives into different topics, you're not the people. You understand things like air travel and how these hubs, you know, from flight to flight to flight, you shut one major hub down, you cause backlogs across the country. And this is immediately going to lead to delays. 20% of TSA is going to get laid off. Furloughed, pardon me. John Wilming. Okay, Trump is an idiot, but what should we call the people that think he's great? I call them the stupids. Dime Bree Garage. Hey, Paul, here's always, thank you for always being here, brother. I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate you. Sherry, thank you for being here and always supporting the show. But yeah, it's not just parks. It's not just that. You're talking about your student loans. If you read this article, again, corporate media is like, oh, it'll be okay. Your student loans will be fine. Well, the bad side of them will be fine. If you've already graduated and you're paying your loans, oh yeah, you're going to keep paying them damn loans. And if your loans are through a private bank, yeah, well, you're gonna keep hearing about that. But you know what? If you're in college and you're relying on loans and you have to do your paperwork every semester, and there's nobody to do the paperwork. Yeah, your new loans are screwed, brother. It's not just going to be okay. The government is good. The government does important things. It just does. And these shutdowns are stupid, especially when you're talking about all they want to do, all the Republicans want to do is seem tough, act like they're tough guys, and make sure that what their billionaire oligarchs said that they don't want to pay for anymore, which is your healthcare subsidies, doesn't get paid for. Whether it's a good thing or not, they don't really care about what the results are because they can't govern. That is not what government is for. That is not what governing is. But yeah, it's insane. And this falls on this backdrop. I mean, I want you to think about this. This government shutdown is not happening in a vacuum. It's not. There are other things going on in the world. UBS has sounded the alarm. This got almost no coverage. UBS's major bank raises red flag on U.S. economy, warns 93% chance of recession based on hard data. Here are 5 crucial money moves you need to make now. Yeah, the media keeps going to whatever bank has the lowest prediction for whether or not we're heading into a recession. And I keep telling you, the recession's already here for us poor folks. It's already here. The economic data that's coming out is just painful. It is just painful. B. Areola Owen, thank you for being here. I'm having so many conflicted feelings between sad, anger, and hope. I will keep fighting with it all I have. Good. I'm glad you're here. I'm truly glad you're here. Thank you. Agent Cajun John, mafia mentality. Yeah, I am thoroughly convinced that billionaires are stupid people. I really am. Metal Rabbit at Cook College has several videos about MAGA waking up and not to call them stupid. That's not me. There's plenty of people out there that are going to want to do a kumbaya thing and this, that, and that. Fuck those people. Vincent Day, thank you for being there. I mean, really. I saw a video hit my For You page yesterday, I should say, as I was laying in bed, trying to go to bed, about a farmer having a fit. He's a corn farmer. Yeah, corn prices are down too. It's not just soybean. Having a fit because Trump has said, that he's going to make moves to bring beef prices down. And the only thing that's keeping him solvent he grows corn and raises beef. And the only thing that's keeping him from complete utter bankruptcy and losing his farm is beef prices. And I don't know about you folks, but I just couldn't feel sorry. I just couldn't. I am practical. I understand. We need 1 to 1.2 billion pounds of food, grown, processed, cooked, packaged, delivered every day just to feed you every day. So I'm not stupid. I can wrap my head around the necessity of farmers, but it doesn't mean I have to feel sorry for them. Bruce Barrows condemns forced MAGA Mike to swear in a new rep from Arizona so we can have a vote on the Epstein files. No. We took their power away. Dems can't do shit. What he's talking about is what we talked about in the show the other day. Mike Little Johnson is not swearing in Adelita Grijalva. We normally, when you have a landslide win like that, it's uncontested. They don't wait for the certified results. They just don't. He didn't want her there for the Epstein vote. He didn't want her there. She was the 218th Epstein vote. That meant that it was going to go to the floor for a vote. Didn't want that. And he didn't want her there for these negotiations, for the shutdown. So he's just going to wait until Arizona fully certifies, which is not the way they normally do it, folks. They normally don't do it. When it's a blowout like this and it's uncontested and it's an empty seat, they swear him in immediately. That's what's normal. But Mike Little Johnson isn't going to do it. But no, the Dems can't force shit, man. We took their power away. We need to learn from that. George Allen, this will cost them in the midst. Yeah, it will. They really thought they had something, man. They were going to do their rah meeting, and then with the brass, and then they were going to be tough guys and shut the government down, and everybody was going to be, just decimated on the left, and the right was going to be super fired up, and none of that happened. Let's dig into it a little bit more. Why none of it happened? People, even MAGA people, get really impatient with stupid when they're hurting. Pain is a real clarifier. It is. It's a real clarifier. It is. This just happened. I've been telling you, I don't trust the numbers out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics since Trump tried to put a stooge in. We got some news on that too. And they've been delaying reports. Like we still don't have the consumer expenditure survey. We don't. The rest of the world got theirs. Every first world nation across the globe got their consumer expenditure surveys, but we didn't get ours. And now they're saying, oh, well, maybe Halloween. We'll release it at Halloween, maybe. And we know what it is. I don't know why they're doing this. It's sowing doubt. But we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But Metal Rabbit, there's an opportunity to create a coalition, purples if not blue. Please watch it, because I am never going to kiss their fucking ass. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're dumb as dog shit, and they did this shit. You're in the wrong place if you want some kumbaya, brother. It is not happening. Not happening. I understand what you're saying. But there is no coalition between me and fucking MAGA. Even MAGA that realize they're stupid. There's no coalition there. The policies don't jive. I'm a Democrat, and I believe that we need to move farther left as a country. There's no coalition with MAGA for that. But yeah, this happened. Now, if you watch the show, you've heard me say this before. The economy, just to keep up with population growth, must create 220, 230,000 jobs every month. Every month. Babylon 01, intelligent people don't like Trump. He said so. The military brass proved that. Yeah, that was not the response they were expecting. That was not the response they were expecting. None of that went as they were predicting. But yeah, the economy has to create 220 to 230,000 jobs every month. Yeah, that's not been happening for a while. ADP just released their numbers on private sector jobs. And September, we lost 32,000 jobs. Not only created 32,000 jobs, we lost 32,000 jobs. We went negative. And folks, I need to be really clear about something. This does not include the government furloughs that just took effect, the separations that just took effect. Remember, all those Doge deals were through September. And I know they hired some of the IRS back, and because they realized, oh shit, the government does stuff for a living. We can't just willy-nilly cut shit. But yeah, no, there are still tons and tons of government employees that just left their jobs. And those are not reflected in those figures. Those are private sector jobs. Diane Bree Garage, from the reaction of the military and veterans, looks like they will step aside and let the regime fall. I believe in our vets. Yeah, that was probably the best thing that they could have done, was the reaction that they had. Ron Slater, Tammy Duckworth, a real veteran, made great remarks regarding the Keg's Breath rant to top brass. Yeah. Veterans all over the place have come out pissed off. I want to talk about the economy for a little bit longer. I took a look at that jobs report. So I said, okay, if you want an easy gauge that you can find, just search for 10-year bonds. That's the gold standard for how the economy is doing. We've talked about this before. Bonds, and I promise I won't glaze your eyes over, just stick with me. When the economy is really good, people don't want to invest in bonds. They don't make enough money on them. They don't. They're really super safe investments, but they don't pay a lot. So when everything is good, the economy is good, everything's safe, and everything's rolling along, like when a Democrat's in power, those bond yields have to go up and up and up and up and up, because the yield is what that bond pays back. It's what that bond pays back when you buy it. They have to make them more and more attractive. When the economy is bad and tanking, it's real easy to sell bonds. That's where all the smart money wants to go hide. Bonds and gold. So the yield plummets. They don't have to offer much to incentivize. So you can always kind of gauge what's going on with the economy by taking a look at 10-year bonds. Chris R., what's the over-under that this administration will claim more than enough public sector hires to pretend that the $32,000 loss isn't real in the middle of a shutdown? I haven't trusted the numbers out of this government for a while. I haven't. But I will tell you that enough very wealthy, powerful people have pissed off that we've got some movement on that front. But yeah, this is the 10-year 10-year Treasury bond. Just pulled this up a few minutes ago. Yeah, it's none too happy right now. Between the shutdown and the jobs reports from September showing the economy is continuing to slow, they're saying we might fall into recession. Might? Shit, it is already a recession for poor folks. Yeah, they're not having to incentivize bonds for shit. This is one day. And this is what it's looked like. If you take a look, this is 10-year Treasury bonds for the last 6 months. Yeah, what does that tell you about what Wall Street really thinks about the economy? Canadian Paul says, it's amazing to me as a Canadian that there are no levers to reel him in as he runs rampant harm in the country. Well, that's our job. We're supposed to keep the Democrats in power, and we didn't do that. A lot of stupid people voted Democrats out for a lot of stupid reasons. V-Man, 29,397. I find it funny that MAGA is having a hissy fit about Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl, considering they have one thing in common. They both hate the idea of Puerto Rico becoming a state. I don't even know. I don't know how Bad Bunny feels about that. I don't. Jeremy Breeden. Keg's breath is the epitome of toxic leadership. I would venture to guess his troops hated him and his leadership style. Yeah, that's kind of a given. But yeah, we've seen this going for a while. I mean, we've talked about it on the show. We've talked about it. The economy's tanked. It's cooked. Omniscient Sphinx. The picture of the general was face bombing and spoke volumes. Keep up the good work. We're going to get there, folks. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But yeah, as far as the jobs report's concerned, it's not looking good for construction. It's not looking good for anything that requires the economy to be humming along. Services, transportation, all of these things are hallmarks of people losing their job. Leisure and hospitality, nobody's taking trips anymore. No more. This is just. I mean, this is bad, folks. This is bad. Manufacturing has lost 3,000 jobs. Service providing, which includes the trades and like I said, transportation and professional services, leisure and hospitality. It lost a net 28,000 jobs. So yeah, this is just not looking good. Not looking good at all. And these are the regions that took the hit too. To give you some idea of where this is targeted. Northeast did okay. They added 21,000 jobs. The South, kind of broke even. They only added 3,000 jobs. The West, they did okay. They added about 15,000 jobs. But the Midwest, boom, negative 63,000 jobs in the Midwest. Yeah, that's your farmers, man. This report doesn't report on farm employment, but it does report on the private industry that supports farming. And they just got decimated, just destroyed in September. And that's your Republicans, folks. That's your Republican. That's why there isn't this big ha, rah about this stupid ass They really thought they were going to do something with that bullshit. Anybody that's seen the movie Patton knows where that American flag came from. I mean, that was just a real shit show. You have to forgive me, folks. I've got a cold going on. I know my voice is terrible, and I'm going to be rubbing my nose a lot. I'm sorry. I got itchy nose. B-Man says, Bad Bunny wrote a song that literally has the lyrics. I translate, no, don't let go of the flag nor forget the lie cause. I don't want them to do to you what happened to Hawaii. Maybe he doesn't support statehood. But I just want you to be really aware. I give a shit. I care about you. I really do care about you. You know, it's one thing to sit here and like everybody else, every other talking head out there that says, oh, look what just happened. These jobs numbers just dropped. You know. Now let's talk about what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, what you need to be preparing for. And I don't think there's any better example of what you need to be preparing for than to look at the strength of the dollar. You know, we just went from summer blend gas to winter blend gas. The winter blend gas is cheaper to make, and we usually see a pretty significant price drop at the pump. Didn't happen. You're still continuing to see inflation, not just at the grocery store. I mean, although it is horrible at the grocery store, but elsewhere, everywhere, goods are just getting more expensive. They are. And it's not just the tariffs. It's this. This is baked into the cake, and you can't get around it. This is just straight up, uncontrollable, no way around it inflation. That too, Brutus, need a dash of bourbon and honey in that coffee. Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. But this is the dollar's exchange rate with Europe. This is dollars to euros over the last year. Trump took office right here at the peak. You notice it was climbing. The dollar was doing better and better and better. Trump took office. First couple months it sputtered. And then ever since, it's just been plummeting. Folks, a weak dollar means everything that we buy that's made in Europe is more expensive. It's just an automatic inflationary charge on everything you buy. That's Europe. This is China. You know how many goods we buy out of China? China is the factory to the world. China and India both. Same thing. As soon as Trump took office here in January, started to fluctuate a little bit, and then boom, it's been on a straight nosedive since. Want to know why your gas didn't get any cheaper? No, this is one reason. This is the Canadian dollar. US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. Continuing to drop. Again, same exact pattern. And then here's Mexico, one of our biggest trading partners, Mexico. You just can't get around that, folks. You just can't. A weak dollar, which will continue to get weaker because the only thing that they can really do in this economic situation is print money. It just is. You know how the Republicans used to bitch about that, printing money? Oh, they're just printing money? That dude Brutus need a dash of bourbon. Oh, I'm sorry. You already read that one. Sorry, folks. John Little says, I feel like our economy is being deliberately set to crash and burn so the oligarchs can buy us cheap. You know, that may be their plan, but it's really freaking stupid because most of those oligarchs are going to come with us. They just are. This is not, there are not Democrats in power. There, you know, you're not going to see quantitative easing and all the things that Democrats do to, you know, we do. We prop people up that fight against us just because we know we're the grown-ups in the room. If industry collapses, the jobs go with it. These right-wingers aren't that bright. Michael LaRosa, thank you for being here. Is there a deliberate move by this administration to tank the economy? Manufacturing cannot return to the U.S. if labor costs cannot be adjusted downward. We were doing fine. We were doing fine with our labor costs the way they are. We were. It can't return with the tariffs. That's just not going to work. That was just the dumbest plan. And that's why I say I thoroughly believe now that most billionaires are just morons. That attempt to shift their tax burden onto the people through tariffs was the most ill thought of, stupid plan I have seen in my lifetime. Alan, the look of dejection on Kegbreath's when he got no response twice was a chef's kiss. Yep. He stood there and waited for an applause, and they just sat there. Loved it. That was the best thing they could possibly do. Kim P, HR Guru. The BXPX retail stores on Army and Air Force installations are open for our veterans and military during shutdown. Thanks for telling us. But did you hear that they have said that was one of the things that Hegseth said that he was wanting to do away with? He wants to get out of the grocery business. So your exchanges, your PXs, your BXs, bye. Christopher Daly, thanks for being here, brother. Tired old lady, virtual click of coffee mug. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. But yeah, I mean, it's insanity. And I have to tell you, at least some of the billionaires are starting to wake up. This is E.J. Antoni. This is the guy that I told you I don't trust anything coming out of the Trump regime. I don't trust the numbers. They cook the books. I don't trust them. The numbers don't jive. When your numbers that you produce don't match with any of the sources, and the math doesn't math, it's obvious what you're doing. And when he put Antoni, when he named Antoni in charge of BLS, to be in charge of BLS, everybody said, this is just going to be a straight propaganda factory. We're not going to be able to trust anything anymore. And the billionaire oligarch said, we can't operate that way. We can't. Sakura. Companies are avoiding taking sides, not pointing to real reasons to job losses, but we aren't blind. Thank you for all you do and providing hope. Yeah, everybody's walking around, has been walking around on tippy toes and treating Trump with kids' gloves. You're going to start to see more and more people coming out as this shit gets real. I mean, pain is a great clarifier. Silly Bebo. Thank you, Silly Bebo. I appreciate you for being here. A private company in Saudi Arabia linked to Jared Kushner bought EA. As someone has played The Sims for over 20 years, this concerns me. This entire administration has been a grift. We used to make fun of Trump because he claimed to be a billionaire and wasn't. That guy's worth almost $8 billion now. They are grifting money hand over fist. Diamond Garage, I close my wallet tight. Only local business and absolute necessities. I will not give money to corporate billionaires, period. Glad to hear it, brother. Glad to hear it. Matey Van Fleet, a shutdown is their plan. Economic crash allows them to buy properties from under people and then charge so much for rent they want to get back to feudalism. I hear what you're saying. I do. I hear what you're saying. I don't think they're intentionally crashing the economy. I think that they thought they were so arrogant. It's every time Republicans take power, they're so arrogant that they really believe that they're the answer, and what they believe, what they want will be a good thing forever. You'll see. and they just don't learn. This is E.J. Antoni. And again, this is why I say billionaires, a lot of them are just dumb as dog shit. This guy was in charge of the economics division of the Heritage Foundation. He ran their economic think tank. Now, I don't need to know much more about the guy. I'm just looking at this guy, and I'm a pretty good judge of character. And I can tell you, this is not a brilliant man. Then on top of it, he's like Kash Patel. He's an internet troll. No one with any sense or intelligence or anybody that understands what is important is a fucking internet troll. They just aren't. And yet that's what this guy is. And Heritage puts him in charge of their economic think tank. Donald Trump wants to put him in charge of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. No. This guy said gross stuff about Kamala Harris that came out. He said he made very homophobic comments. He said really gross shit about anybody that he's a Trump fanboy. He is a Trump fanboy. That's what he is. That's what he does. And he absolutely 100% it was rejected. He could not garner the votes to get approved. So this happened. Just yesterday, during all the chaos, Trump tried to slip this through so that it wouldn't be big news. But yeah, they've withdrawn him. He will no longer be the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I got to tell you, the fact that it was because he couldn't garner the votes just goes to show you that there is a rebellion going on. Because the way that works, folks, is each of these senators that need to confirm him, they pick up the phone and they call their major donors. How do you feel about this? And their donors said, no, we can't have that. There has to be confidence in the system. And this guy is a clown. We cannot have him there. Thank you, Chris Barney. I appreciate you. We cannot have him there. So that just kind of goes to show you what's going on with Trump and his base of support. He's lost the billionaire. He has. What he's done to the economy, he's just lost them. It's one thing after another. And you get things like this. You remember where we were talking about, we just had a live where we talked about the Argentine bailout. Well, guess who figured out they got screwed? They're not smart enough to cover up their phones in meetings. And somebody got a direct shot of Scott Bessent's texts with Brooke Rollins, the head of the agricultural department. And Brooke Rollins tells him, this text says, finally, just a heads up, I'm getting more intel, but this is highly unfortunate. We bailed out Argentina yesterday, and in return, the Argentines are removing their export tariffs on grains, reducing their price, and sold a bunch of soybeans to China at a time when we would normally be selling to China. Soy prices are dropping further because of it. This gives China more leverage on us. I mean, it's good to know that they're figuring out that they're getting screwed. I just wish they could figure it out as quickly as Democrats. You know, I just wish that they weren't idiots, because everybody and their brother knew bailing out Argentina when they're intentionally setting their economy on fire just because you like the word austerity. And just because this guy sucks up to Trump, you know, Javier Milei sucks up to Trump and licks his taint, is no reason to bail out a country to the tune of $20 billion. Folks, for $30 billion, we could end world hunger. We could. $30 billion a year, we could end world hunger. We won't do it. We won't do it. But we've got $20 billion to dump into Argentina because a bunch of people that liked Trump, that thought it was a great idea. This is how stupid billionaires are. Trump and Milei, did the huggy, kissy. So a bunch of billionaires started dumping money into Argentine bonds and investing in investments in Argentina that were just risky as hell. When they're being told by Milei that, hey, we're going to slash government spending. These idiots can never understand it. This always hamstrings your economy, always. And Argentina is already in massive debt. So when this crash happens, it's going to be spectacular. But just because Trump is like, these are not bright people, folks. These are not bright people. Bert Kozier, welcome to 1930. Yeah. Tell me about it, brother. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. But while this is going on, okay, just use that as a frame of reference. The economy's tanking. We've got crises out in the world. I got a little bit for you from Russia here in just a minute. That's about to get crazy. Shortness 3000. What is your opinion on Ted Cruz Freudian slip? Thank you for keeping us informed and sane in these crazy days. Remind me, I'll play that clip for you later. Remind me. A lot of people don't know what we're talking about. Ted Cruz was in a press conference where he was trying to make a statement. A hearing, pardon me, not a press conference. We was trying to make a statement about, can't we all just get along? Can't we quit attacking this group? Can't we quit attack their? And then he says, can't we quit attacking pedophiles? And everybody in the room went, what? Yeah, I'll play it for you later. But while the economy's tanking, I mean, this is several months in a row now that we've had horrible job numbers, unemployment's ticking up, the dollar's weakening, all of that is going on. Then we've got a government shutdown going on. Ron DeSantis thinks it's good to trot his wife Casey out because they're going to do this. This is important. Et tu, Brutus. Because of the current GOP, we'll never get to watch Trump's tape dry. God, that is the truth, brother. That is the truth. I don't want to watch it, though. That's it. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, you got to do the important things, right? You got to pander to your crazy people. Casey DeSantis comes out and says, we should do research. We should spend money, state money, to use ivermectin as a cancer cure. No, really. Now, mind you, she just went through 6 weeks of chemo. She had cancer. She did not use ivermectin. But she's coming out and she is telling people, Ron DeSantis trotted her out and has her saying this.
I've had so many people come up to me and talk about this, and that is the generic drug repurposing component of this grant. And so that's specifically for things like ivermectin. So I know that that's been in the news quite a bit. It made a lot of news during COVID. Mel Gibson was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Now, did you get that? The generic drug repurposing. That's the nutballs claiming to know more than the doctors and the scientists. So they're going to try to use things like ivermectin, to treat COVID, things like that. I was watching a nurse just having a fit. She's like, I work in an ER. Do you know how many people that have come in coding from overdosing on ivermectin? You can overdose on ivermectin, by the way. You can. And you've got these yahoos out here already wanting to use the shit. Then you got Casey here talking about it's curing cancer.
Podcast, and he was talking about people that he was friends with, and they overcame stage 4 cancer. And so here's like my perspective, and I've talked to the Surgeon General about this. Like, that's generic form. I think it costs like 77 cents per pill. Is there any incentive on the part of some to want to research this when you're not guaranteed to have a big ROI, right? If you have a novel technology or a pharmaceutical and you have that monopoly and that competitive edge, well, then you're probably going to make a lot more money.
And there's the conspiracy theory that the stupids believe. ROI, return on investment. Oh, they don't want to look at ivermectin because, it's cheap. It's cheap. They want to sell you expensive drugs. They don't want you to have ivermectin. This is what they're focused on, folks. I'm not making this shit up. This is them telling you. I'm playing you the video out of their own damn mouth. Economy's crashing. The government is shut down. But you know what? Let's take some money and give it to do some cancer research with ivermectin. Because, we got this internet influencer out there that's convincing a lot of our people that ivermectin, it's a government conspiracy. They don't want you to have that ivermectin. Crafty ass, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. You know how many people are going to end up with ivermectin syndrome because of that stupid shit she just said? People believe that. People believe, Nancy Mace, I put a video out. I was just beside myself. I was so upset. I actually reversed the names and had to delete the video and remake the video because Nancy Mace went out on both Bill Maher and another popular right-wing television show and told pregnant women to take acetaminophen. Not to take acetaminophen. I did it again. Not to take acetaminophen, Tylenol, and take ibuprofen. That's insane. The makers of ibuprofen tell you don't do that. There are serious health ramifications for your infant if you are pregnant and you start popping ibuprofen. You can damage their kidneys. You can severely reduce the amount of amniotic fluid that you have. And you can cause the vein, the artery that goes from you, the mother, to the baby, you can cause that to close up prematurely. Don't take ibuprofen if you're pregnant. Talk to your doctor. Don't listen to people like Nancy Mace. Don't listen to me. I'm some guy on the internet. I'm not a doctor. Listen to your freaking doctor, okay? Michael LaRosa, ivermectin may not be a cure, may not cure your cancer, but will take care of your crabs. Yeah, it'll make you crap out your intestinal lining and give you a lifelong disease that you have to deal with, a lifelong illness that you have to deal with. But yeah, all of this is going on, and they thought it was important to do this. They thought it was important to do this. We're going to finally get to the big shindig with our military brass.
We are preparing every day. We have to be prepared for war, not for defense. We're training warriors, not defenders. We fight wars to win, not to defend. Defense is something you do all the time. It's inherently reactionary and can lead to overuse, overreach, and mission creep. War is something you do sparingly, on our own terms, and with clear aims. We fight to win. We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt.
You get the idea. Fuck those Geneva Conventions. Yeah. A lot of things that he said yesterday that people are too comfortable with the fact that the generals didn't react well to it. They think it's not going to happen. Let me be clear for you. Those generals are going to follow orders. Some may resign. Some may resign. But the military will do what it's told. Historically, there's never an example where they don't. I mean, it is really freaking rare. You know, you've got a Sisi sent to power in Egypt. One of the few examples where the military sits up and says, "No, we're not going to do this crazy shit." And Hegseth was real clear. We're going to do everything we can to drive women out of the military. Oh yeah, shave your beards. That people really missed what that was all about. He doesn't care if white dudes have beards. What he cares about is that you've got certain ethnicities where beards are part of their culture, their religion. And we can't have those. No, got to be white Christians. So you just change the rules and say, oh, nobody can have beards. So that you've got legal justification for telling people that can't serve and shave their faces to get out. There's also, what is it called? Ginger folliculitis Bombay. I can't remember the medical. One of you medical professionals in the audience, right? It's a condition that African Americans deal with. So they have, there are exceptions for African Americans to have their face shaved. They put a lotion on their face and use a butter knife and actually scrape the beard off. But they do it over every so many days, or they just break out horribly. That's you can see folliculitis Barberi. Is that what it's called? Yeah, that's why I love you people so much. Folliculitis Barberi. Yeah, it's just common. Bottom line is, if you listen to everything that Pete Hegseth said, our military is going to be all white, and they're going to murder people if they want to. I don't think they ever expected anybody to identify the people that were in those boats that they blew up. But yeah, it's really starting to come out that we just straight up murdered some people, and they got it wrong. See, turns out that area is not just where drug smugglers launch from, which this boat is not. Again, drugs, the first boat was heading back towards shore. And there's no way for them to take a craft that size from there all the way to Florida. The journey is just impossible in that boat. It is. But it's also a hub for smuggling for gasoline. See, Venezuela's neighbors pay more for gasoline. And a lot of these boats, they smuggle gasoline from Venezuela to their neighbors for a profit. It's also where people fish. Fishermen launch there. And it's really starting to come out that these boats that we blew up probably weren't drug boats at all. But we summarily executed everybody in the boat. That's what Hegseth is talking about. To be able to do things like that, no questions asked. Nobody gets held to account. Ever. And folks, that will change it's happened, will change our country forever. Fundamentally who we are as a people. Thomas Keane, I have to love Pete Hegseth, fails miserably when he tries to out poetry Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah. There was a good side. There was a good side. The generals didn't look into it. They sat stone quiet. He thoroughly expected clapping. Trump even asked him to clap for him, and they didn't do it. They just didn't do it. Trump is like, oh, you should clap for me. None of them were prepared to sit stone-faced with 100 people that are actually badasses staring them directly in the eye only a few responding. And they weren't getting good body language from these people at all. And when Hegseth finished, he was expecting, and it was dead silence. You could have heard a pin drop. Brian Hoochin, Skeech Pete told them to be bigots. Yep. And forget the USCMJ. Yep. And the Constitution, I took a oath as a SEAL. I stand by my oath. Yeah. That's exactly what he did. And thank you for being here. And thank you you're the kind of person we need in the audience talking to people. We do. Because that has been the response from overwhelmingly from veterans. Even right-wing veterans are not happy about this. They are not happy about this at all. None of them liked what they saw. Mr. Newton, soon you can't serve unless you're a fascist bigot. What's next? That's the goal. That's where they're heading, folks. That's what they're trying to do. Gregory Brown, that was Stephen Miller's dream. Yep. Yeah, we found out that Stephen Miller absolutely is the guy that was responsible for blowing up the boats. Yeah. That call didn't come from Trump. That came from Stephen Miller. That guy's been wanting to kill people. You can just tell. He's just sick, man. He is just sick in the head. He is just sick in the head. You can tell he just enjoyed that so much. Straight up killing brown people for no reason. And the military's not too happy about it, folks. They aren't. They're not liking being put in these situations. And damn them to hell for doing it to our military. Because these people are going to have to be held to account. We cannot just straight up murder people. But yeah, after talking about we're not going to follow the Geneva Conventions anymore, we're going to get rid of the rules of decency, we're going to be misogynistic, we're going to no more wokeness, no more promoting people. And he insinuated that whites were superior. He did. If you listen to his verbiage, he said that black people and people of color that were promoted were only promoted because of DEI policies. Folks, that is telling people that, whites are better. That's bullshit. These people earn their jobs. These people earn their jobs. This white supremacy shit that he was peddling is unfucking acceptable. And I'm really glad to see that there are people stepping up and they're, veterans are being because they know these people in uniform can't. These leaders cannot run to a microphone. They can't. So the veterans are speaking up for them. Mike Daly, you know how you make them applaud? Tell them we love them, we support them, and then show them by supporting vets when they come home. Amen, brother. Amen. Heidi Gordon, Superwoman in the house. Miller called the drone strike. Where's the NatSec team to talk Miller down? Nobody was going to stop him from killing brown people. Nobody. He's been wanting to do that his whole life. He is a sick man. Bruce Barrows, Miller has no authority to order an attack. It's the way this White House runs, man. Trump isn't in charge of anything. I've told y'all that. You have these people doing their own things. Trump has gone. His mind is gone. People were shocked when he sat there and gave this speech. They were just shocked. And then he said this, which was just, he lost even his base with this.
Important mission. And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military.
Training ground for what? What are you wanting to do? Their vision of America is occupied cities. Let it sink in, folks. They're telling you. That's their vision for America. And people, I'm getting attacked on the left from people saying I'm being hyperbolic, for saying look, our country has changed. If I had told you, in 2015, that the Republican position would be to occupy our cities with troops, that's a good thing. You have the Governor Landrieu of Louisiana asking for Baton Rouge and New Orleans to be occupied. You would have told me I was insane. But this is their vision for our country. Ricky Reynolds, love you, Texas Paul. Any chance there's some truth to the U.S. dropping its debt into crypto? They are already trying. They're already trying to move crypto into a U.S.-backed currency status. They're already trying to do that. We actually talked about that on a previous show. Cape Mary Light, they forgot that the GOP won't be in power soon. They've forgotten about the Nuremberg trials. Absolutely. Absolutely. These people are idiots. They are idiots. Greg Edmond, Trump wants battleships to point 16-inch guns at American cities he hates and fears. Yeah, this is not hyperbole, folks. The president of the United States just sat in front of our highest echelon of military leadership and said, I told my Secretary of War to use American cities as military training grounds. Angel of Death. Always remember, Trump orders General Kelly, get those pathetic disabled veterans out of here. It looks bad for my image. Yep. This is the kind of person we're talking about. Marie Crabtree, can a citizen file a report with the World Court? Miller should be held should be held accountable. You want him held accountable? Elect Democrats. They will do it. They have the legal means to absolutely hold him to account. Michael LaRosa, you are not hyperbolic. Some on the left think this will all go away with 2026 midterms, but those midterms have to happen. Do we believe they will? I know they will. I'm not asking. This is, and folks, there's a disconnect with people don't get it. They don't understand Hakeem Jeffries, why he's, or Chuck Schumer, why they're not more hyperbolic. They're not more aggressive. And they know they've got this. They have got this. And it shows. They want to talk about healthcare. And when everybody else is stressing about, we're fighting for the soul of our country, and you want to talk to me about healthcare, I don't get you, man. And they're in another place. They know we've got this, but they don't know where we are as a country and what people are feeling. And that disconnect, that gulf has to be closed. And I'm going to do everything I can to close it. Because of things like this, Trump said this. I warned about this, and I got attacked on the left for saying this. Let the man tell you himself.
This time. So I'm going over, I'm going to be meeting with generals and with admirals and with leaders. And if I don't like somebody, I'm going to fire him right on the spot.
I told people when they called this meeting, that is what it's for. That is what it's for. They're going to have loyalty oaths, and they're going to fire anybody that they can't get to bend the knee. And I got attacked by a very, very popular left-wing influencer saying, how dare I? I don't know anything. Well, there you go. There you fucking go. The man said it himself. I'm telling you, people, this is something that we have to watch. This is something that we have to be on top of. This is going to be the challenge. This isn't going to stop. This isn't going to stop. There's going to be challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge between here and the midterms. This time next year, this country is going to look very different than what it looks now. It just is. I'm not telling you, they're telling you. All you have to do is believe them. And I keep telling people, there's no time for the 11th commandment. The 11th commandment, thou shalt not speak ill of any Democrats, even ones you disagree with, even ones being stupid out there. We must build as much momentum as we possibly can. I'm not saying don't support a primary challenger or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. By all means, if you've got somebody that's out of pocket and you can get a good candidate to challenge them, great, do that. But don't shit on the Democratic brand. We need as much momentum, as much wind at our back as possible. Robert Walsh, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Because so much is on the line. You want to see the Epstein files? You must elect Democrats to get it. Republicans are telling you they're not going to release it. Democrats are releasing everything they get. It's that simple. You want to see hearings, you want to see Stephen Miller held to account and the military officers that fired Hellfire missiles into frickin' boats where they had no idea who was on the boat and what they were doing, and then misrepresented it to us, the American people. You have to elect Democrats to get that done. Republicans are telling you to your face they're not going to do it. Gail Brownell, Republicans are telling you they're going to change the rules to make it okay that they did that. They're telling you Pete Hegseth told you to your face that's what they're going to do. Gail Brownell, thank you, Texas Paul. One easy thing we can all do is the Veteran Noise Project. Every day at 8 p.m. local time for 1 minute. Look up Jolly Good Ginger video 928 for more info. I really like Jolly Good Ginger. He's doing a good thing. He really is. He's doing a good thing. He's one of those people that came out of TikTok that said, okay, look, I've got a platform now. Let's do something good with it. Spicy Jester, I think about the troops starting to fill our cities, and I'm reminded of the Kent State tragedy. History can repeat itself. Protest peacefully because violence will bring martial law. Violence will give them the excuse to do anything they want. It will be 10 times worse. The only thing I'm really concerned about, I'm confident we're going to be okay. We've got this. You know, the economy tanking is a bad thing. People being hurt is a bad thing, but it does serve us politically. It's a wake-up call. Pain is a real wake-up call. It stops the stupidity. We've got this. We do. As long as we're not stupid. What I fear are false flags. Because Keg Breath just came out and said, we're going to have a male, white, misogynist, white supremacist movement in our military. And the white supremacists are going to support that. They're on board. And when I say supported, I don't mean just say, oh, good job. I mean, like the old boy from down here in Texas that went up to Minneapolis during the George Floyd protest and shot up a police station to try to escalate things, to try to get people hurt and killed, and to try to make excuses for brutal crackdowns. That's what I'm afraid of. That's the only thing that I have any fear of. Our protests have to be so smart. And people are, if people tell you to wear masks to protest or to not take your phones because you can be tracked, don't trust that person. Don't. Take your phone and film everything. Everything. If it looks even mildly weird or wrong, break that phone out. Because I am deathly afraid of false flags. Scott S. Hegseth was a platoon commander. He only sees the military from that level and talk to the generals that way. I know. To have a failed major talk that way to our senior leadership was a slap in the face. Kim, PRHR Guru, thank you again for being here. We already have a pseudo martial law happening. We keep beating it down. We do. The best thing you can do is point and laugh. And I mean, there are abuses, but we will hold them accountable. They'll pay for them. You know, we just had an ICE agent send somebody to the emergency room, a photographer, for just being on an elevator. Slammed him to the ground, caused him to have a back injury. He had to go to the emergency room in an ambulance. You know, these abuses are going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to be painless, folks. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy or fun, or we're going to enjoy where this goes. I'm not saying any of it. I'm just telling you we're going to win this. Because every stupid thing they keep doing plays in our favor. All we have to do is be smart. Don't cut our own Achilles heel. Don't stab our own in the back. Don't factionalize, because that's the only way they win, folks. They're really going to try that. On social media, they're going to try to pick at any one issue they can to try to split us, to try to get some people to not show up. We can't allow that to happen. Ryan Hutchin. That was why the orange sweet potato Hitler, signed SPM 7 in order into an order, was so he could fire military leaders. Yep. They're going to try to purge out. They're going to try to make it happen. They are. Et tu, Brutus. And people are so content to say, oh, you saw how they reacted. It's fine. It's fine. They're never going to go, folks, they're going to go along. They're going to go along. They're going to take these marching orders, and then some will drag their feet, some will retire. But no, these crazy ass orders, yeah, they're going to happen. Et tu, Brutus. We need to support legally, financially, any Epstein survivor willing to ignore the NDA they signed to protect a wealthy perv. I'm hearing it. I'm for it. Get that information out there. They did not stop raping kids. They didn't. Pedophiles don't do that. Mandolius, I hope all the newly fired military officers and staff start talking loudly. That's who you're hearing from. People that have recently left the job. That's who's coming out and speaking. Jennifer Elizabeth, I've been researching, sharing about Project 2025. Let me get a sip of coffee real quick. I've been researching, sharing about Project 2025. Lord, I can't speak. For the last year and a half, Pete Hegseth's speech was quoting the document almost verbatim from page 9. Yep. Everybody said that we were being hyperbolic when we were talking about this stuff before the election. And I'm telling you, veterans aren't having it. They are not having it. The response is pretty much monolithic. They're speaking up for those generals you see in that picture that can't. I have seen no veteran at all that's come out and said, oh, yay, this is a good idea. And I tell you, there are things going on. We're going to see a change in Ukraine. Russia is up against a wall. Putin, it's kind of like Iraq and Afghanistan. Americans put up with that shit because they didn't feel any pain at home. They didn't feel any pain at home. We had the stop loss orders, and they just kept taking the same people and forcing them into deployment after deployment after deployment so that they didn't have to draft our kids, so that we didn't feel it. Now we've got broken veterans with extreme PTSD, committing suicide, homeless, Fox News saying that we need to euthanize them. Jesse Waters over on Fox, or Brian Kilmeade over on Fox News saying we should euthanize these homeless veterans. People didn't feel it. Well, Russia they've been fighting the Ukraine war the same way. Their people just didn't feel it. And they're about to. Every expert that I follow, that I read, there's lots of good information out there to be found if you know where to look, if you know who to listen to, is saying the exact same thing, that the fit has hit the shan, that this winter is going to be brutal in Russia. Skyrocketing fuel costs, and they may even have to go so far as gasoline rationing. That they may have to issue to their people cards to ration out gasoline. Why? Because Ukraine's been fighting a smart war. They've been going after the refineries with drones. Russia's 5th largest refinery in Yaroslavl. This is from today. Look at the date on that, October 1st. This is from today. It is on fire. They claim they just got it put out, but these are the images coming out of it as of this morning. Doesn't look like it's not on fire anymore, but they're saying both that they've put the fire out and that it was not a drone attack. The Ukrainians didn't do this to us. No, it was just an accident, which they're immediately trying to backpedal from because they don't know a good thing to say, because what you're telling me is that our refineries are blowing up on their own. Oh, no, that's not happening. But you said it wasn't a drone attack and it wasn't the Ukrainian. Well, no, it wasn't them either. They don't know what to say. They just don't know what to say. But when Putin's backed against a wall and he has to start rationing gasoline, he's a madman. He is not going to just say, okay, we lose. No, he's going to expand this war. He's going to try to put more skin in the game for Europe, is what he's going to try to do. Because Europe's response has been very Neville Chamberlain about it. Very, oh, well, the war in Ukraine is not really hurting us too much. We've got our energy situation kind of taken care of. Keeps Ukraine out of European markets, agricultural markets, and our farmers kind of like that. And if this drags on, it's not too big a deal. Well, it's about to come home to roost. It is, because Putin is not going to take this well. When the pain, when he cannot hide the pain of this from his own people anymore, which has already been happening because there's no more convicts to pull out of prison and send to the Ukraine front. They're running out of people to scoop up that nobody cares about. They're running out of North Koreans. This is bad, folks. It is. This is going to take an ugly turn. And we've got Trump. Like I said, this time next year, we're not going to recognize this country. We aren't. It's going to be very different. We have to be smart. We have to be unified. Mr. Knudsen, thank you for being here. Ration cards are already there in Crimea. Yeah, that just happened, folks. That just happened. They're starting to ration gas in Crimea already. I'm talking in Russia proper. They're going to have to start rationing gas. But yeah, Mr. Knudsen, that's why I love having you people here. I love the folks. If you're watching this on replay or you're new to the show, you've got to have the chat panel open. I'm telling you, these are incredibly smart people. Open that panel, read what they're talking about. They have parallel conversations. Sometimes they have conversations that are ahead of me. But yeah, Mr. Knudsen, you are absolutely correct. They're already rationing gas in Crimea, but this is spreading to Russia proper this winter. It's already October. By December, this war is going to look very different. Very different. But look, folks, if you need any more incentive, we're not the same. We're not the same. I'm sorry. I cannot, and I understand you. No smoke going towards you at all. I get the argument that you were making about don't attack the MAGA that are waking up. Don't tell them they're stupid, or they don't tell them they deserve what they get. And I get your point, man. I really do. But it's just not me. It's not me. I don't have that anymore. After the first time, okay. But the second time you did this to our country, no. 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 I'm no. There are a lot of Democratic farmers out there that are getting hurt that I care about. There are. But if you're a farmer that had Trump written on the side of your barn, burn your barn for fuel to keep warm this winter, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. They're not decent people. Boomer bitch. Bet you $1 million there was a Trump merch table set up at Quantico. Oh, God. You know, I haven't heard about that, but I would not doubt it. I would not doubt it. This is the way they act. This is how much they humiliated. Y'all have heard about the Ryder Cup, right? It's a big golf tournament between Europe and the United States where they divide up with the European team, the United States team, and compete. But y'all understand that golf is a MAGA sport. It really is. I mean, there are some Democrats that golf and this, but for the most part, young white MAGA guys, middle-aged MAGA guys. Yeah, really. And they were on full display. They were horrible, this Ryder Cup. Just embarrassingly horrible human beings. And Rory McIlroy, he wasn't having it, man. He wasn't having it. He had had enough. And then it got worse. It got worse. They were hollering awful shit. Then somebody threw a beer at his wife's head. Yeah. They were making gross comments. He had one fan ejected for screaming homophobic slurs. But over a golf match. They were screaming homophobic slurs. They were screaming, "Fuck you, Rory." And then they did this really classy move. A few years back, Rory McIlroy and his wife separated. They separated. Well, Rory's been on top of the golf world for a long time now. He's one of the best. In fact, he was the best for several years running. He's Irish. He's not American. He was playing on the European team. Somebody asked if he was a Democrat. He's Irish. He's not American. He was playing for the European team. But he's been top in the world for several years. So they spread, being the classless jackoffs they were, they spread a rumor that he was in a relationship with a woman that they completely deny that didn't happen. So to humiliate his wife, they were chanting this woman's name. Whenever his wife was in the crowd to support him, they would start chants of this woman's name that they, without any evidence whatsoever, claim that Rory was having an affair with. Yeah, this kind of juvenile behavior, that's not us, man. We're not the same people. We're just not the same people. We're not the people that do shit like this. So no, I'm not going to break bread with them. There's no common decency between us. I'm going to defeat them. I'm going to build our coalition. I'm going to strengthen Democrats. I'm going to help them with messaging as much as I possibly can. I'm going to grab a hold of the Democratic Party and wrap around. There's one of my little MAGA pieces of shit. I'm telling you, we're not the same. We're not the same. We're just not the same. We're different people. Fundamentally different people. But I'm going to grab a hold of the Democratic Party and I'm going to pull left. And I'm going to help them with their messaging as much as possible because they will keep our country on track. They will keep our country on track. They worry about things like healthcare and jobs, all the unsexy stuff. They just do it. They just do the job. There's no common ground. There isn't. Republicans represent their oligarch billionaire donors. That's it. And then keep their supporters, their MAGA morons, keep them pissed off about stupid shit that isn't even real. Like their messaging right now for the shutdown is, oh, they just want to give illegals health care. Well, that's fundamentally not possible. Not how it works. Federal money cannot go to pay for immigrant health care. It's a law. You're just making it up as you go. But they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, and that's what those bigots want to hear. They want to hear homophobic shit. They're the scummiest among us. They have no business in our government. Our government should be the best of us. It should represent the best of us. It should be our face to the world. Not a bunch of clowns at a golf match screaming homophobic slurs and over a goddamn golf match. Kim, PR, HR Guru, please host guests on your live. I do. Stick around. I do. I bring guests in often. I do. Not as often as I should, but I do. Joan Prim, I'm on a fixed income. What can I do to help? You can, I appreciate the support, Joan. I really do. Always put your own oxygen mask on first. Take care of yourself. I hear a lot of people that are saying, look, I'm just exhausted from this. I'm like, hey, I understand. It's a lot. It's a lot. Do what you have to do. Go outside, touch grass, get some sun on your face, whatever you got to do to charge your batteries. But once those batteries are charged, you can volunteer for campaigns. I tell people at a minimum, get involved with your local Democratic Party. That's not going to cost you money. They need the bodies. They need people. You can postcard for campaigns. You can phone bank for campaigns. You can put signs out. Hell, you can just help set up the tables. It all has to be done. You would be surprised how easily you can help out. And you ain't got to be rich to do any of that. None of that costs money. You know, the last big get together, bunch of the people made food. Maybe you can do that. And I'm not saying even buy the groceries, just help the people make the food. All of it has to be done. Let's keep the motivation going. Let's keep things moving in the right direction. Let's make these midterms epic. Epic. Yeah, Deborah Brown, stuff envelopes. There's a lot that can be done. And believe me, just like we enjoy each other's company here, that's what's at your local Democratic Party. These are good people. These are good people. And I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of them. Some of them are in our audience right now. That's what I have for you today, folks. Glenn Kaneko, thank you for being here. No Kings, October 18th. Protest smart. Protest smart. No violence. No violence. Protest smart. But yeah, No Kings Day is coming up October 18th. Make your voices heard. On that, enjoy some Texas cities at night.